Well, hi, Sisters Klein. How are you all?
Good.
Good.
Having us.
Thank you for making time to talk to me today.
Of course.
Of course.
So, in case somebody happens to watch this who is unfamiliar with Anchal, how do you explain Anchal Project in a nutshell?
Anchal is a nonprofit social enterprise located here in Louisville, Kentucky. We provide alternative careers in textile and design to women who've been forced into the commercial sex trade or are survivors of domestic violence, both in India and in Louisville. Majority of the women that we work with are in Louisville. So the products that they make are all hand quilted, ranging from jackets, different accessories, many scarves, and a lot of home goods, quilts. And then the proceeds from the sales of the product that they create then go back into the program and help support a new livelihood for them and new women to join.
Okay, so creating this could sound sort of random to somebody who has no understanding. So tell me a little bit about how you landed on this whole notion and the connection to India that happened when you were in college.
Yes. So I thought I was going to be a landscape architect. I went to grad school at Rhode Island School of Design and was planning to design parks and plazas. Moved to New York after graduation and work in a firm. All of that really shifted in my trajectory when I took a seminar class called Design for Development, and the seminar challenged designers and artists to use their creative problem solving to work alongside communities to discover solutions to systemic issues. So we had the opportunity during that class to travel to India. So that was my initial connection. It does feel very random for a girl in Kentucky to start an initiative based in India, but upon learning about the significant gender inequality that I witnessed and needs of local organizations, we had conversations with local nonprofits and they expressed support in their programming. So in the middle of a red light district in Calcutta, I got to visit with women in the sex trade and meet the children. And this NGO provided outreach for the children, but not many opportunities, especially economic alternatives to the women in that community. So we started conversations from there, and that's how it began. I came back to Rhode Island, started very humbly selling notebooks and note cards, raised $400 and got the initial program off the ground by training 8 women. But really, I think what changed for me is the realization that I could use my passion for design for something really positive that could impact the world and people around me. And that's kind of how Maggie then ended up joining in on this as well.
So Maggie, what about this lured you into the process with your sister?
Yeah. I was studying architecture at the University of Kentucky. So similar experience. Thought I was headed to New York myself and, started questioning what design could be used for and where my interests really lied. And so Colleen had this project and I was like, that's pretty cool. And I would go up to visit her at RISD and help her with some fundraisers. And then I graduated and realized, why not help out for a little bit. And, there was we always kind of giggle. There was one specific meeting where I got hooked and for strategic planning. And then it was like, all right, this is the first of, the next 6 months meetings. And then I was like, okay, here I go. This is my job now. So it was
When
good.
did you know, what was the moment or what was the metric where you knew you were on to something, where you felt like, okay, this is going to have traction and lives are going to be impacted?
I think we got really excited. I mean, we were very lucky early on to get connected to Urban Outfitters. And once we developed this collection together, and that launched into the world, I was like, this is really exciting. I think Maggie and I both deep down knew that it was going to work before that. But one of our biggest successful initial sales was like maybe a year after we had started, and it was at our high school, Sacred Heart. And we had the opportunity to go back and talk to all the students in junior year during a religion class. And then we had a pop-up and we sold out like within a few hours. And it was really exciting to just see people's response to our organization and products that we were developing with the artisans.
Give me a sense, if you would, where is Anchal now? What year was that at Sacred Heart?
2012.
2012. So
2011.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So 2011, 9 years later. Give me a sense of the numbers we're talking about now in terms of artisans, volume of products, distribution type partners that you've gotten to work with.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk a little bit about the Helma off Clint experience.
Yeah, sure. So around then, I mean, when Colleen and her early trips to India, we had about 15 artisans. By the time we're working with Urban Outfitters, it kind of went up to like 40, 50, and then it grew to 60 after that. And now we're employing 160 artisans, and we have a project managing team of 13. So we have 11 project assistants, a manager, and a director. Back then, I think we had, Colleen, was it just quilts or did we have accessories at Sacred Heart?
Just quilts.
Okay.
We had one product.
Yeah, we had one product. Now we have, over 100 SKUs. We slowly launched after quilts. It then was scarves and small accessories, things that we knew because most of our artisans come to the program untrained. They don't have the skill set developed. So we created products they could make, and as their skill set developed, then our products could diversify and we could expand our offering. So we went from accessories and branched out our home goods. It took us years to kind of successfully get a zipper in a product, and that was a huge, monumental moment for us. And now we're moving, 9 years later, we have a wide range of home goods, accessories, and now we're moving even more into like clothing wear and outerwear, which is really fun. In 2016, we showed at our first trade show, which really was a game changer for us. We have over close to 200 wholesale accounts and have partnered with Madewell, Anthropologie, a lot of amazing brands now. So it was quite a game changer at that point. Colleen and I experienced so many different stories, and these women have become our sisters and our aunts and our moms and all sorts of different relationships with them. We share meals in their homes. We visit, we know their children. We've seen them grow up over the years. They're very much a part of our lives. And so, hearing these stories and knowing that they have a strong community within themselves that gives them the courage to stand up. And, we also do fun, educational workshops. We have this big Women's Day event, but then we also do self-defense classes and financial education and lots of different things that help them learn new perspectives in their lives. So I know they all enjoyed the self-defense one, and, proves that it gives them a little confidence at home too.
You're now getting to see some second generation, children become involved. I mean, do you allow yourselves those moments to just kind of take a breath and survey what you guys are building?
We're not the best at that, to be honest. We stick our heads down and keep moving. I think there are definite moments on our last trip to India this past September, seeing that second generation, seeing a lot of new faces and women that, we went, there's always more women who need work in this community. And we walked into a room, there was a group of 200 women who came just to see us and the potential for a job. And so there's moments like that kind of take your breath away, and you're like, whew, this, we are making change. I think for a long time, Colleen and I, in the early years, I was like, is this making a difference? And we had faith that it would. But the stories of impact over the years, I think one of my favorites, most recent, is we would see them invest in fresh food, clothing, education for their children, and now they're starting to invest in themselves. So they're buying new phones for themselves and jewelry for themselves. And so I think that's a fun thing. And that kind of helps us snap back into, oh my gosh, it's been 10 years, but it takes our breath away sometimes.
Well, you're helping create an economy, at a very individual level that is beginning to multiply. I mean, that's pretty profound.
Yeah.
In this non-economist opinion. But,
I wouldn't call myself an economist either, but yes.
But that's what you're doing. So, we're hearing a lot of talk right now with this pandemic about economic impact. It's hard to not notice that, even from the fortunate positions from which we observe.
Mm-hmm.
How is this impacting what's happening with Anchal in India? How is the pandemic affecting what you guys are doing, and how are you responding?
We're paying close attention right now. All of our artisans are healthy, and we're encouraging them to stay obviously at home and limit their interaction with people, because their health is obviously the most important. What we've been fighting for right now is to keep up with full pay. So up until this point, we've paid all of our artisans their full rates. We're able to support the purchase of the products that they sent, and then we'll send another transfer for the most recent shipment so that they'll be paid through this. We've picked up the needle on our end, and Maggie can share a little bit about what we've been doing here to help support.
We had a call from a business that was inquiring if we were making masks. And at that point, a lot of textile companies had just started doing it. And we were like, well, I'm not sure if that's the right move right now. We've got to focus on selling our product. And, then we were like, well, let's give it a shot. So we quickly made some samples with our amazing dye-skate coordinator and in-house seamstress, Brent Drew Wallach. And we had some samples made, and I guess we launched it for pre-order and sold them and have not stopped selling them. So it's been pretty amazing, the response that we've had. We've not only been selling direct to consumer, but we have some incredible wholesalers, local and nationwide, who have been purchasing them for their communities. But yeah, like Colleen said, we picked up the needle. So our women in India aren't working, but now we're on the machines. Colleen and I are making the masks. We have an amazing group of volunteers, like friends and family and people who've stepped up to help us, and have become this working force that we have to meet the demand of the masks. I think we were completely unaware of where this was going to go when we started it.
The cool part about what we're doing too is that we're using fabric wastage from jackets and different outerwear that we create, so that it's a zero waste product, which is really exciting, but it does dictate a little bit of our color accessibility at the moment.
What will you carry forward once this immediate crisis is resolved?
I think I've just been struck by everyone's creativity and resilience, just watching how other businesses have adapted. I think that's where our design brains really work in our favor, as that we're used to being creative on the fly and not married to certain avenues. So we're able to pivot pretty quickly and creatively. It's been challenging to shift and become the producer and work remotely in Louisville and tap into different networks. But
I would also say the fact that we are like a nonprofit has given us, we're used to that shoestring budget. I think for so many years of the first 5 years we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. So I think this kind of environment is something we're in a strange way comfortable with, of getting bare bones and finding how to survive.
One of the most important things for a nonprofit, I think we would all agree, is networks and the relationships we build. Tell me how you came to be connected with the Guggenheim and the Hilma Clint show.
Yeah. So Colleen and I were showing our spring 2018 collection, I think, at the NY Now trade show. And two of the buyers from the Guggenheim Museum came by our booth and fell in love with the quilts. And they kind of talked to us a little bit. And, you know, there's this little courtship dance that you do. And, you know, we tried not to like let her jump out of our skin with excitement. And so we followed up a couple emails, didn't really hear from them. And then a couple months later, they gave us a call and they were like, you know, we are about to have this amazing first time show of Hilma's work. And would you all be interested in designing a collection for our store based on her work? And we were, you know, kind of around the phone. We're like, what? Like, of course. You know, dream come true. So they were super supportive of our design process, encouraged us to do kind of whatever we wanted. So we were inspired by her work. I spent a lot of time, Colleen and I love to design together, so we spent a lot of time sketching from her work, being inspired by her colors, the symbolism behind her work, the narrative storytelling she plays in her pieces. And yeah, then we designed quilts, some scarves, a tote bag, and an amazing jacket for them. And that launched in October 2018.
Wow. Is that ongoing?
So for over a year, the collection was so successful. I think the day after the opening, probably like VIP opening. I don't think it was even open to the public yet. They put a reorder in the day after they launched, which was pretty incredible. And then we continued to, some of the pieces are still now available at the Guggenheim, and the relationship that we've built with them has really been wonderful.
I think my favorite part is when our friends are at the museum and in the gift shop and they like snap a picture and send it to us. I'm like, yes.
I'm mortified that I did not do that when I was there last year.
We'll forgive you.
Missed opportunity. My Anchal
I see. That's cool. Yeah, marigold, Dicescape.
So you guys, if you were to share some learnings with the future generation based on how you've responded within your company, what would key advice look like from you two?
So much. We've learned so much. I think we were very fiery in the beginning. I was 24 when this started, so I was perfectly naive to take on something like this and fight for it. I always love to talk to young women because I think we have so much more power than we've ever been told. And once you get off the ground and have an amazing idea, is like, even if people aren't listening to you, trust your gut and your reaction and fight for it all the way through. And once you have like a little bit of a track record, that's when we started getting traction. Is like, I had one product, you know, but like I had this vision, and like I knew we had one artisan story, you know, and like taking that little pieces and knowing that just really to follow your heart and your gut. And I think women have such an amazing opportunity to change the world.
What would you say, Maggie?
Yeah, I think Colleen and I think everybody who's been a part of this, because it was a very community cultivated company. Our family was very involved helping us early on. You know, all of our friends have been roped in at some point or another. But I think for us, we've just learned to accept the fact that, you know, you're going to have to learn it yourself sometimes, and you got to be gritty. And I think there's a lot of resources, and yes, networking is super important, but when it comes down to it, you got to bite the bullet and learn. And we're constantly, every single day, some of my friends have always asked, like, how do you guys know how to do this stuff? I mean, I Google the weirdest things to this day. I mean, just learning the next adventure and, you know, branching out and expanding the company. And I think that's one thing that maybe is unexpected for younger generations, but, you know, we've really had to kind of go through the trenches to kind of get the success. And yeah, but it's also super fun, and we love it.
I just think, yeah, nobody know. I think one thing that I discovered too is like going to networking events, like when I'm 25 and like standing in the corner and being like so intimidated, like to tell my story or just like introduce myself. Cause I'm like, everybody is way smarter and like knows what's going on. They're business people. I'm just this designer. But like what I really learned is nobody knows what they're doing. And nobody has the perfect answer because there isn't one. I mean, you're going to approach it in the way that's true to you. And as soon as I kind of grabbed onto that, it's like my own unique voice is important. And these people don't really know the best way either. Is that that was kind of my biggest takeaway is there's not a perfect thing, and we all have to just kind of learn as we go.
You all, so the whole purpose or the inspiration for me in creating this conversation series was A, to nurture my own curiosity and creativity, but B, to talk to other people whose work I admire. And I want to know what is inspiring you all right now as we're moving through very unusual times. And what are you learning is utterly essential in your lives? I think crisis tends to shine a light on what is most important.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly inspired by just fellow businesses that we've befriended over the years that are like fair trade brands or social enterprises, fellow textile companies that are on the smaller side. Just watching how they're all adapting and staying true to the work that they do, and stepping up to the plate to develop some incredible outreach for communities that they support or their community that they live in by providing masks or whatever. So I think the ingenuity has really been inspiring to me, and just kind of watching people adapt quickly and be creative. We're very conscious already about what we purchase, and fight for ethically made, knowing where our products come from. That's what we strongly believe in at Anchal, is like consumers and customers can make a difference. And like by buying something that's positive, the ripple effect is amazing.
You don't get what you want when you want it right now. And you're struggling and you're being creative. And I love watching all the crafts and the baking. I mean, I'm baking bread. Trying. But it's fun. It's fun to see people grow during this time, take the time to evaluate themselves. And I think there's so much to slowing down in the piece of being simple.
Well, Maggie and Colleen, thank you so much for taking time to talk with me today. I just admire both of you so much, and I'm so happy to play a tiny, tiny role in Anchal as a board member. And I'm just grateful to you and inspired by your creativity every single day. So stay well. And I look forward to connecting with both of you soon.
I know. I can't wait to give you a big hug.
Oh, likewise. Yes. Hug somebody. Won't it be amazing?
Yes, for sure.
Thank you, guys. See you soon.
Thanks, Teresa.
Bye.